Welcome to Cypress Creek Adventures. Hey there, welcome to this week's episode. This week we're going to talk about wood stoves and wood stove safety, and set up my wood stove for the winter. We've kind of transitioned here from summer to fall, and we haven't had any particularly cold mornings yet. This week we're predicted to be in the 30s a few mornings, and so it's time. We start burning wood. So stay tuned and we'll go through some safety tips and set up the stove. Okay, so now we're outside here and I'm at the chimney, and I wanted to show you my setup. And I have the thimble here goes through the house, and this is all double walled insulated pipe. I put this extra piece on the bottom for a clean out, and as you can see I'm only a couple sections high, and it's worked very well. This will be my 8th winter with this setup, and a lot of the creosote has fell out, and we're going to run a brush up in here and clean out the rest of this residue. And what I have here, I've taken just a regular brush that goes on a grinding wheel, fits exactly perfect in there for $2 or $3, and put it on a stick. And that's how I clean my chimney. And so we're able to just put this right up in here and push this up. As you can see, I'll run that all the way up and back down, and does a very good job for cheap. So we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, so now we're back in the house, and this is the hearth. In the summertime, we take the stove down and turn it sideways against the wall here, so it saves some space. And so now we're going to turn it around and set the pipe back up on it. And before that, we're going to go in here, and this is what only residual that goes out to this is the thimble that we showed from the outside, and that's all the residuals in there now. So what I do, I've taken and made this piece here that I can slide in there without making a mess in the house. So we take and slide this in here half moon, and we slide this in and push all the residue into the clean out, and it does a pretty good job. And I'll just keep going back and forth and turning it until I get it all cleaned out. So we get this done, then we're going to spin the stove around and get the pipe hooked up. Okay, now we got the stove all positioned and we got our pipe on, and we're all set up in here. I've got my fire rug here. I'm about due to get a new one. I think I get a new one for this year. Now this stove doesn't have bricks in it, and it's just steel in here. I could probably add bricks to it in the bottom, but it just gets hot enough for me as it is. Now I can take a 28-inch log easy, because this is long and narrow, and I can bank this up pretty good, and it'll run for a long time. You know, when I'm not home working, and stoke it up and go to work. And so this one has this adjustment here, and usually I'm about right there, just on a crack. And then I keep my damper on my pipe wide open. Now I've got a stick on here just to keep this tight, because I don't want this to flop over and it might smoke the house up. So, but we also have this damper in case we have some problems with maybe we have fire in our pipe here. We can turn this down and snuff it out. Now, I've only had that one time in a lot of years, about 20 years, to have that happen to me, but I'm ready for it if I need to. Usually only happens when they first load it up with wood. So this has been a great little stove. Not a very expensive stove, but I did a lot of work to it when I got it, and it served me well. Alright, so we'll talk about a couple tools here. I have just a basic poker, but because the thing is so long, I also have been using this for many years. It's been in before I even moved to this house. It's just a regular garden rake, but it's long to where I can get all the way in the back and pull the coals up to the front when I have to restart the stove. And it's worked very well. And also you need a little shovel so you can clean out And I put all the ashes out here in the garden all winter. And we put all the manure on there from the chickens and the quail all winter. And so we don't waste anything and everything's utilized. Alright, I want to take just a couple minutes and talk about wood. This pile here is all that's left of the big tree that we cut up and split on this previous video. And so this is going to be the first wood. It's not the greatest. The tree was hollow. So while it's not real cold out, a lot of mornings, you know, I can take this maple and it'll just be perfect. We'll be able to bank the stove up with maybe 2 or 3 pieces. You don't have to fill your stove all the way up to get enough heat. You only need just enough to take the chill off the house. So we'll move over to the other pile and talk about the rest of the wood that I have. All right, we're out here to the where I keep my wood, and got this little cover here. Actually has some more of that wood from down in the other pile. And then I had a friend of mine needed some wood, but mine was too long, and I got all these little cut-offs, so I'm going to use those this spring too. And we put a couple of those in when we leave to go to work, and we come back home, we'll still have some coals because most all that is oak. So then I have my supply here, and most of this is a single rick down this side, and this side here goes all the way across. This is all this year's wood. I try to cut 2 years, especially if I've had this health issue that I've got wood and I can get it to the house easily. So I keep myself supplied pretty well. You know, I was blessed very much by family, and my daughter and her husband did a bunch of work at their house and took some trees down, so I have a pretty good supply here for the next couple of years. And that's all oak, all red oak and white oak. All right, so now I want to go over how to get your stove set up and be able to light your stove and burn their wood. So I went out to the pile, and we got this junk wood that was out there that we're going to use. And this works very well in the morning because we only need to just take the chill off the house. And it might be in the 30s during the day, in the night, and then it'd be 60s in the day, so we don't want to heat the whole house up. So then usually I maintain 2 buckets. One bucket that I keep bark and dry splinters and that kind of thing, and then the other bucket has kitchen trash and paper, and anything that has grease on it works very well to start the get the fire started. Now once I get going, and I usually always have some embers, and there's been weeks when I've never had to relight, but just drag the coals up and then restart the stove. So now we'll go ahead and lay this out, and I'll show you how to build your fire. So we're going to start out with just some kindling, and then we're going to take, my favorite is this cardboard. This hasn't been a pizza box, but I've taken cut up pieces of cardboard like this and have it all ready. So we get a box from whatever, And then this was bacon. So we're going to put that in here. And then we're going to take and put this wood on each side here, like this, and build our fire. And we want it so that it'll get some air, but we want it close here so that the flame will go in here and light. So then once we get this built, then we'll just take a match, and we don't have to just light this one spot. And in about 5 minutes, this whole thing will be a fire. The biggest thing that you don't want to do is add too much wood. You get this thing going, and any kind of stove, big or small, fireplace, if you put too much wood in, then you're stuck because it's just got to wait for it to burn down. So I just add a little bit at a time. And then we take over on this wall here. This is how I do it. You can do whatever you want. But we take 5-gallon buckets and put wood across here. And we keep dry wood in the house all the time. Well, I hope this video has been informative to you. And it's been a help to some people that have never burnt wood. And for the ones that have burnt wood for a long time, maybe there's a tip there that you might not have thought of. My biggest thing is the safety is the #1 rule. You want to make sure that everything is right where it should be, and not have, you know, things in front of the stove that can catch fire, or your fireplace. And safety is number one key. Also, the type of materials, and dry wood is maximum thing for you to do. If you try to burn wet wood, it stops your chimney up and you can't get heat. And so it's important to keep your wood covered, and keep a supply of wood in the house that can dry out. And we use the buckets mostly because it catches the dirt, and we can put 4 or 5 pieces of wood in each bucket, and so they last 2 or 3 days. In the wintertime, we do stack some extra in there on top of the buckets, but that's when it's 30 and 20s in the day, and we really don't want to go outside to get more wood. So the biggest thing is to not overcrowd your stove or your fireplace. Once you get a big fire in there, your house is going to be hot, and you're going to have the windows open, because the only thing you can do is let it wait for it to burn down. So you add a little bit gradually, and once you learn your stove, you know how much wood to put in and what kind. And hardwoods are going to work better for you than some softwoods like poplar and maple. And some maples are really hard, especially if you live in northern areas. Here in northern part of Delmarva, we have some maple that's pretty decent, but most of it is fairly soft. So I use that kind of wood here this time of year until it gets real cold. So, well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and like and share. And we'll look for you next time. And God bless.